Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being here with me. You know that I love having you here with me. I know you can be anywhere, and the fact that you're here with Politics Done Right, it means that together there's a hell of a lot of stuff we are going to do together. There's a whole lot of stuff we got to get done. Welcome aboard, folks that are already here. Michael Rudnin, how are you doing, my brother? Hope Bleeker, Hope, welcome aboard. And by the way, Hope wrote a great blog on what's going on in, I think it was South Carolina, on pulling down the monuments. I think hers was, help me out, Hope, help me out, to the name of the guy. I forgot the name already, but she wrote a great piece. Go to egbertowillies.com, egbertowillies.com. Hey, you like the t-shirt, Rose? Oh, yeah. Store.politicsdoneright.com, people. Please go to store.politicsdoneright.com, and then that way you're supporting the show as well. So anyhow, folks, welcome aboard. I am happy to see you. Look, we have a huge show today. I had to cut it down. Actually, I had to cut down the 37-minute. Calhoun, that's the person that Mademoiselle Hope Bleeker had with the post that she wrote. So please go look for, do a search in Calhoun at egbertowillies.com. And one of our listeners, one of our supporters went ahead and wrote a blog. It's at egbertowillies.com. Check it out. Great blog. She gave some context to these, the stuff about bringing down these statues. And, I mean, it was a very cogent article. And what I loved about her article is she wasn't going out there to say, gung-ho, just knock everything down. She was in there giving a rationale for what's happening, how her mind changes, how people go through these things. And that's what I found really nice about the articles. Those are the kinds of articles, when we're getting into long style articles, those are the articles that I like to read, because what it does is it shows that people are not just moving from just going for the hell of it. They're actually putting some thought. Hola familia, Dimitri OG. Welcome aboard, Dimitri OG. I'm going to get started here. Let me tell you guys, I'm kind of late in putting all together. In fact, I don't even have the Zoom up. When I'm playing one of the videos, I'll try to get the Zoom up. Because let me tell you what happened. Today's show was supposed to be John Perkins. But there's so much that happened. John Perkins, a great guy. Welcome aboard, Norman Reynolds. Was supposed to be John Perkins, but I decided to hold John until tomorrow, because what happens is there's so much that was fresh for today that happened over the weekend, that I found over the weekend, and that I processed over the weekend, that I wanted to bring to you guys, because it had to do with bad policing. It had to do with having a woman on the ground, a black woman on the ground. It had to do with a whole lot of these things Sir Wesley 08, welcome aboard. So I really want to bring this, and I wanted to bring this in the correct context. As you can see, I'm kind of winging a few things right now as I get the pages up, because like I said, I just got through doing the last video, and the last video was of Lina Hidalgo's interview on MSNBC today, that I wanted to bring out, because right now, our governor is destroying this country by not doing the appropriate things to curb this virus. Lina Hidalgo, our judge, the Judge Lina Hidalgo, who runs the county, and this is something that's happening all over in red states, where you have blue sections, where intelligent leaders are trying to do things that are appropriate. Anyhow, today's show is titled From Corporate Policing to COVID-19 Malpractice to Administration Lies. Violent, corrupt policing and malpractice in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic are two major issues that must be solved as a society sooner than later for our survival. And I really mean that. For our survival. We're at an impasse. You saw, I don't know if you guys saw those videos with Black Lives Matter march walks into a very elite neighborhood in front of a lawyer who actually sues police as well. And he walks out, he and his wife walks out. He has an AK-15 or AK-47, I don't know which one of his, and she has a pistol out. Bodies walking down a street. I think it was a private street. They didn't particularly know that it was a private street, but gated communities, man. You know how it turns out now. The way the system is working, welcome aboard, Bruce Pilar. The way the system is working, hey, We can isolate ourselves from all the ills of society, because those of us with means, the billionaires that are taking advantage of everybody, I don't mean just taking advantage of those who now consider themselves the downtrodden, but taking advantage of everybody. And we talk about capitalism and how these things work in the long run all of the times, but I want to go further. Anyhow, so they walk down that street, and this lawyer who also sues police officers, right? He comes out with an AK-47 and his wife the gun. And I'm thinking these guys are marching because of what police are doing to them. He normally protects them as well. But you see, there is something that you have to understand. All of us folk, black, white, or otherwise. And these last few weeks have been racial because of what's happening. I am mostly economic. But they all play a part that we have to really contend with. So check it out. He comes out with AK-47, and my thought process starts going, right? What the hell is happening here? These guys, I got it. This particular guy, just think about hitting the police or hitting up the police for these guys, because these guys are nothing more than the raw material. They're the raw material to his wealth. Yeah, he's going to get them some bucks. He's going to give them some bucks after he pays his fees and takes his 33%. But they are his source of income, the cogs. The same thing we all are in this system, right? I want you guys to understand that, man. And that's why we have to get together. That's why we have to make sure Appalachia, the ghettos, and the barrios get together. Because until we really beat this system by understanding what is going on, we can't win. Anyhow, let me go ahead and play the first piece. Chuck Todd. Well, I set it up already in the piece. I already did it. So check this out. Kudos to Chuck Todd today. He really sort of, in his own way, scolded Alex Azar, who is the Secretary of Health and Human Services, about the mask issue. Shouldn't the president be setting an example? Should the VP be setting an example? Check it out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
I asked the governor of Arkansas, Republican Asa Hutchinson, if his job would be made easier to get his state to wear masks. If the president, he didn't have to wear one, if he would just say it, just tweet it. Here was his response to me, sir.
A consistent national message supporting the importance of wearing a mask and social distancing is very important to making sure everybody understands the importance of it. Nothing beats leadership.
Mr. Secretary, multiple times with me in our 7 minutes so far that we've talked, you've brought up masks, you brought up social distancing, but without the President of the United States doing this, how's half the country going to listen? Have you directly asked the President to please ask the country to wear a mask?
So I'm the President's Secretary of Health. I'm telling you, practice social distancing. Where you can't appropriately social distance, we encourage you to wear a facial covering. The Vice President of the United States on Friday walked up on stage wearing a mask, even though he doesn't need to, in the sense that everybody around him is tested, he's in a bubble. We're all saying this. The President's guidelines for reopening have said from day one, practice social distancing. If you can't, wear face coverings, practice appropriate personal hygiene, and always, please consider your individual circumstances and those of your household members. Protect the most vulnerable, those over 80, those over 65 with 3 or more of the serious comorbid conditions. These are the people we have to ring fence and protect right now.
What you just articulated, Mr. Secretary, is do as I say, not as I do. The President of the United States holding indoor rallies twice in the last 10 days, once in a state that is seeing a potential of an out-of-control spread in Arizona. He doesn't talk about wearing a mask, and you avoided my question about whether you've asked the president to at least ask the country to wear a mask. Just because you put guidelines under his name, when he doesn't do it, his people don't listen.
Well, he wasn't as good as the reporter, the CBS reporter, who really challenged Mike Pence. But you know what he did? He actually put out there to a large audience that they're just not doing their job, and that they're not answering questions either. Wow, I tell you what, Chuck Todd at that point impressed me. You know, Chuck Todd, generally speaking, he never challenged. Well, every now and then he challenges, and anytime he challenges, look, I'm very hard on Chuck Todd on the videos that I do with him, because a lot of times he gives Republicans a break. But on this time, I went ahead and I said, you know what? he was so right in the way he did this, and I was happy with I was happy with his performance. But we have another one here that I want to show now, and this one was how should I say this? How one of Trump's surrogates just goes out there and lies, right, about the issues. But the good thing about it is, yeah, we caught it, and not only did we catch it, but also we caught the numerical part, but the other person that was there got more than that. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Hewitt appeared on Meet the Press today, and he started to talk what he talks about. He's a Republican hack. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Hugh, how would you advise the president to turn this around? I mean, it does look like at this point they've made the decision the federal government isn't going to own the response.
Well, yesterday 500 Americans died, Chuck, and in Germany 680 Germans died. In Germany, 680 Germans died. The United States death toll has dropped dramatically from May when it was 2,700. And in between, it's been a month and 3 days since George Floyd was murdered. In between, we had millions of Americans express their anger at zealous policing and at the unnecessary use of violence, often lethal, against African Americans. And that was an event in the story of this virus. There's another event in the story of the virus. There's a ventilator supply now of 50,000 that the president got done. There is a lot more social distancing, and a lot of older Americans are intuitively staying away, and the sharp rise in cases is among younger Americans. So what I think the president has to do, look, Joe Biden is very confident. He's measuring the drapes in the White House basement already. He thinks he's got this in the bag. President needs to, as I said in the first segment, go back to his numbers and say, hey, America, who's going to get us back to where we were in January? Joe Biden in the basement or Donald Trump? And I think he's got to do that in one-on-one interviews with as many people, including you and people who might be very tough on him in conversation. Every day, a one-on-one interview like he did in 2016.
Casey, do Senate Republicans want the federal government to take more responsibility for this?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, this has been an unmitigated disaster for the perspective of many of them. And I'm sorry, but this picture that Hugh is painting of, Americans looking at, the world the way it was in January and definitely deciding here in June that President Trump is the one to fix the problems that frankly cascaded on his watch seems to me to be something certainly that when I talk to Senate Republicans behind closed doors, they don't buy.
What planet is Hewitt living on? Social distancing? And that somehow things are getting better? Everything is getting worse. And this guy is talking as if things are getting better. The president got more ventilators, 50,000 ventilators. What he forgot to tell you is that the president, Obama, left him a contract to build ventilators at $2,300 or $3,000 a piece, something like that. And they let it go. And instead, we had states paying $50,000 for ventilators. And then he wants you to believe that Germany has a higher death rate than America. He simply came out and lied. 600-something people died in Germany. Does he really not think somebody's going to check on that? I checked Worldometers. 0 people died in Germany yesterday. 3 people died in Germany so far today. And I think it was 14 who died the previous day. The problem is there's nobody challenging these guys in real time. They're getting the platform to put lies out there, and America somehow believes it. That is why we're here, to set the record straight. Good for KC Hunt, who made sure to call him out and just about said, what planet are you living on? Actually, Mike Cisak, you said that I cut up the video that makes it on. No, what I did is I took out the spaces in the videos because this is a show that's based on time, right? And first of all, I respect your time. And we also want to make sure that people can get as much information as they can in a short amount of time. So if you take a look at a lot of my videos, I take out a lot of the dead spaces. So I put some words closer together. And the dead spaces that I don't take out generally is there if the dead space is there to show some sort of a sentiment or otherwise. So yes, that can be subjective, but that is how I edit videos. Also, I generally, when I'm editing videos, if there are repetitious things in the videos, I take out the repetitions because, again, this is for you. We are trying to get as much information into people in as little time as possible so that you can go do some other things as well. So that's how I edit video. I never edit videos to tell a story that the person was not intending to tell. I promise you that. If you ever, and there is probably one or two times somebody told me that I made a cut that changed the meaning of the statement. And when I rechecked it, they were correct. And I deleted that video altogether as opposed to editing it. And there were some other reasons why I did that. So no, I am not trying to relay bad information. Anyhow, folks, if you're just joining us, please do, or if you've joined us already and not shared yet, I ask you so kindly to please share these programs on your wall, your page, your Twitter, all of that. Most of our views are starting to come, or not starting, has always come after the fact. In other words, we have several thousand views, but they occur mostly, again, after, when it goes into podcasts, all that good stuff. I'd like to do more real time. I'd love to take more phone calls, etc. I'm even thinking about moving to a different time slot. By the way, for those of you who are on the page right now, I am actually thinking about moving to 7 o'clock in the afternoons. I want you guys to tell me what you think about that. You guys are my regulars. You guys have a lot of input in this as well. And another thing that I want to mention is that Facebook has finally allowed us to take subscriptions directly on the Facebook platform. I don't know why it took so long. I have no idea why it took so long. So please check out. On the top of our link, you can actually go ahead and click support on several. You can click on our page, support Politics Done Right, or you can click, I think, on top of this particular video. I think I have the link there as well. 7 Central Time is what I'm thinking of, Dimitri. Michael, that would be 8 p.m. Eastern. That would be correct. So that's okay with you too. Manuel Herrera says, Egberto, is there a place where I can stream your show audio live? Facebook is not a Oh yeah, you can actually, Manuel, you can actually get it on YouTube. In fact, YouTube, if you go to youtube.com/Egberto Willies, it's not Egberto, it's Egberto, Egberto. Egberto. If you go to Egberto, if you go to youtube.com/Egberto Willies, you can actually go directly to our YouTube page and you can stream from YouTube. Now, the other thing, if you're not interested in video, or if you mostly want to listen, although our video, we try to do a lot of video as well, but if you just want to listen, every single one of the podcasters carry our show. So if you go to whether it's Stitcher or iTunes, or if you just look up Politics Done Right, we are on all of them. Stitcher, iTunes Play, Spotify, we are on all of them, so you can check them out there. But please share these videos. We have to try to find a sweet spot as far as where it's best for more people to go live. Anyhow, the phones are open, 346-248-7799, and the ID is on the screen there, which is 254-600-9091. Okay, continuing with the show. Let me play this one here, and then we'll take it after this. You might ask, why even talk about the president retweeting a racist tweet? Why would he retweet a video showing people shouting out, white power, white power? There's a reason why. Because I want it to reach people. I want people to see this. Check this out, and then we'll take this on the other side.
Jonathan, let me go to you first. I need you to look at this. I need to ask you about something the president endorsed on Twitter. Just this morning, Donald Trump retweeted a pretty disturbing video taken in the villages in Florida of Trump supporters chanting a racist slogan while facing off with counter-protesters. Now, the White House is claiming the president didn't hear racist language on the video, even though the chant occurs just 8 seconds into the clip. He tweeted approvingly, quote, great people. The president has now deleted the tweet, and the White House claims he didn't hear the supporters shouting white power, though it was said several times. Is this the kinds of things that we're concerned about on social media? We are in almost July, late June of 2021, and people are openly screaming white power, and the president of the United States is retweeting it?
Look, it's a sad statement that the president of the United States seems only able to divide rather than unite.
The president only knows how to divide. The reason you want to see that is the same thing that occurred in the having the police officer knees on that guy's neck. Many Americans, many in the majority population, they would hear you complain about this is the type of treatment police gives to people of color. This is the type of treatment they get from police officers, and they'll say, oh, no, that's in your head, or oh, no, you're over dramatizing. But America saw what that police officer did on that person's neck and murdered that person in real time in front of their eyes. Maybe if they see more of what a Trump supporter looks like, they will consider, maybe that's not where I want to be. Just maybe, even if I have a few remnants of those thoughts in my mind, that's not what I want to be. I want to be better. So showing the ineptitude, showing the racism, showing all that is wrong, that is endemic within Donald Trump's sphere, just maybe many will want to vacate that sphere and enter one where they can actually make a difference. Oh yeah, and that is what I truly believe. I forgot to tell you guys something. Those people who subscribe on our Facebook page, like that interview that I did with Mr. Perkins, John Perkins. You guys gonna love this guy. It's a 36-minute interview. It's great. This guy is somebody you really want to hear. He's a positive affirmer. I mean, I just love this guy. All these interviews that I do, I'm throwing them onto to subscribe to the YouTube subscribers. Of course, if the YouTube subscribers get those as well, I have to give it to my Patreon subscribers as well. So I will also put them early on the Patreon. For those people who are subscribing through Patreon, they will get all these things early, and they'll get all the perks and the special stuff too. Again, and all of this is really to try to support this show, to support, I mean, that's the only way we can survive if we support the show. So please check out our new support link on our page, on our Facebook page, which is politicsdoneright.com. politicsdoneright.com, facebook.com/politicsdoneright. There's all these different links drive me crazy. But here's the serious part of the whole program is serious, but this is the sensitive part of the program. I'm glad that I have great listeners who understand this, who I want to be the people that are promoting and teaching and instructing folks on these different issues. Because we need you all. We need you all out there. The only way this country changes, if all of you are out there, if all of us are on the same page, if all of us are doing things right. Now, this first video is about the football player. And believe it or not, it ties right into the other video with the woman being abused by cops. And it's in a special kind of way. And what I'm going to do is tie it at the end of the second video. In other words, this is the first video. This one doesn't involve the police. The second one involves the police, but they are very much tied together. And it's societal. So I really want you to stick around to check this out, and then share this stuff, because this is how we're going to make the change. You know, I walked downstairs last night and my wife was watching videos on her phone, and then she looked up at me and she said, I am so tired of seeing this. I keep getting videos after videos of cops beating up people of color, cops beating up black men. And I said, stop watching them. But you know what? There are a lot of types of beat ups, you know. The stresses that you feel is all through the confounded country. We have to start changing hearts, because the reality is Police officers are but a reflection of society. The only difference is that they have the power, they have the gun, they can use it, and they normally get off. And people say, well, why do you keep talking about this? Because it seems like a lot of people just got an awareness of what's occurring in America. And in getting this awareness, it is to them a new thing, something that many have been living through for decades, for centuries. So what I decided to do, whenever I see these pop up in whatever modal, I try to record it so that I just have a list that I can index and say, if you want to see what it's like, here it is. Yesterday, perusing the news, and there we go again. This time is a football player, Darius Leonard. I think he played for the Indianapolis Colts. He goes ahead and he's sitting at a Chipotle with 3 friends, and they're talking about Black Lives Matter. Apparently, what occurs is a white customer complains to the manager and evidently lies and say they're harassing him or something like that when they were not a part of the conversation. And what did the manager do? The manager told the football player to leave. They asked the football player and his entourage, actually 3 people and a woman, to leave. That is a kind of indignities that we still suffer in this country. But what's ironic is I am pretty sure all these restaurant owners heard about the incident that occurred in Baltimore when this manager did not allow a family to eat, when they allowed a white family with the same kid in a t-shirt and sneakers to eat. Same thing occurred. And they decided that they had to get rid of the 2 managers that caused the problem. You would think that this would be news enough. You would think that the marches in the streets would be enough. You would think that the instability would be enough for people to see what they're doing, right? But when this stuff is, and this is a word people don't want to hear, when this thing is systemic, when it is systemic, it is just par for the course. That's just how we do things. And you don't realize what you're doing because it is so natural. Even with all the demonstrations, with all the rallies, with people getting called out, with people getting on videos, somehow you don't instantiate that into what you are doing, and therefore the systemic nature of racism in this country, because it is such a part of everything. It's a part of business. It's a part of medicine. It's a part of everything. It's so systemic. It is hard to defeat because nobody thinks it's them. This is just how things are. Okay, now I'm going to go right into the other video and then I'll put them together when we're done. Let's see, where's that one? Right here. Video is a great thing, and now we can actually put it all together. There's this woman, she goes to a club or a restaurant, she's eating. She gets into a verbal confrontation with a manager. What she did then is she's upset. She throws the money at the manager and leaves. Bill is paid. There's no robbery. There's no trying to get free food. Nothing. Okay, she leaves. The manager goes to the security guard, who is an off-duty police officer, and says, please give that woman a citation so that she cannot come into my place again. He goes outside, steps in front of her car, stop her. Remember, he's an off-duty officer. He steps out of the car. He tells her to come out and to come to his car. And she says, no, my shoes are not on, and she wants to leave. Can I drive to your car? No, you're going to get out of the car, and you're going to come and walk with me barefoot out there to my car. She says, no, if you want me, you're going to have to pull me up. But she's saying that facetiously. And the guy, first of all, was already treating her with disrespect. He goes ahead and he drags her out of the car. As he drags her out of the car, he then throws her down to the ground and then tases her stomach. This is a pregnant woman. He tases her stomach. This is deeper than that. This is about respect. This is about valuing life. This is about respecting people and who you do things to. Check this out.
Yes, you're being trespassed from the location. Okay, you need to follow me to my car, please.
Like drive?
No, you're gonna walk, you're gonna leave your car here, and we're gonna go to my car, I'm gonna do the trespass, and then you'll be free to go.
Remember, that's his off-duty security guard.
I can drive there.
You're not gonna drive. You're gonna walk to me towards my car, I'm gonna do the trespass, and then you're gonna be on your way.
Yeah, like I pay for everything, like I don't understand.
Okay,
Trespassing.
listen, we're not gonna go with the back and forward right now. Okay, I understand that. You're from whatever other state. The way we do things here is different. Okay, whatever it is, we're not gonna go back and forth. Either you come out with me and we do the trespass, or you get arrested. How you want to do it?
You're gonna arrest me for what though? What did I do?
Resisting without violence. I'm telling you to walk with me to my vehicle because I need to trespass you, but members of the staff require me. Listen, I don't care about that. Find the shoes and come out.
But how can't just drive right there?
Last time that you came out of the car, I'm going to get you out of the car. Whatever you want to do it.
Okay, record this because my
You can record. I'm recorded. I've been recorded since the first time.
Thank you, because my dad's a police officer.
I don't care about that.
Okay, I don't either.
Get your shoes and come with me.
25 years. Okay, so whatever you want to do, pull me out the car. Go ahead. Don't reach in my car. Is you crazy? You can't reach in my car.
What do you...
On her neck, though?
Really?
Why is you kneeing on her neck, though? That's weird as fuck. Why is that kneeing on her neck, though? Why are you kneeling on her?
Get back! Get back!
No, why are you tasing her? Stop. Why are you tasing her?
Turn around and put your hands on your back.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. No, don't touch me. Why y'all recording? Why is y'all tasing her?
Now you see the treatment. Violence by the cops. Going ahead and tasing somebody. Remember, the manager asked this guy to give her a trespass citation. That's what this is all about. A trespass citation. She wasn't trespassing. She went to have dinner and she paid for her food. Now, again, there was some incidents between the argument and she throws her money and walks out. She didn't try to leave without paying. But, people said, well, why didn't she just abide by the police officer? Well, some people would say, you know what, I'll just abide and then I'll take care of things later. But I mean, the humiliation, the constant humiliation of the police state for some people while others can do as they please. I want to show you a compilation of what other people do without police involvement, without anybody saying, let's go ahead and have the police give them a citation so they can never again come back here to do work. Check this out.
This lady kept on hugging people at the bar and not wearing a mask.
Misha's co-worker behind the bar asked the woman to comply.
Miss, please put your mask on.
Watch as surveillance cameras captured what happened next. The woman leans in and appears to cough directly in the face of the bartender, who steps back in shock and disbelief. Misha was standing just feet away. He quickly told the woman to leave. She does, but not before a parting shot, giving bartenders the middle finger, then knocking down a bar stool before heading out the door.
An irate woman caught in the latest viral video purposely coughing at another customer in a New York bagel shop. It all started when that customer complained to workers about a coughing woman who was not wearing a face mask. And that's when the maskless woman, identified as Lauren Balsamo, became enraged, called the woman a derogatory name, and aggressively coughed in her face.
I don't give a about Dallas. Democratic pigs! All of you! That man harassed me for not wearing a mask. I have a breathing problem. So anyone harassing me to wear a mask, you guys are violating federal law. You get that? Get that on camera.
No involvement with police officers, no rough treatment, nobody tries to hold them down. They have the right to get upset. They have the right to feel like their space have been aggrieved. They have that right. But whenever a black person or a Latino or a POC says, I have a right to be upset, I have a right for a police not to bother me, I have a right not to be living in a police state. Do you wonder why the phrase Black Lives Matter means something? Black Lives Matter, why do you say that? Because you say, everybody else seems to have the lives matter. Black Lives Matter. Do you understand also why we say defund the police? If the police is actually there to police one group of folk differently than the other, defund the police and put the monies into the places where they belong. That particular incident where the owner of that restaurant wanted a trespassing ticket, that could be done at a courthouse, sending her a summons. The only time we need a police is where a gun is really necessary. And you know what? Most incidents that police attend requires no gun. They are a violent sect in general. Whenever you say, oh, most of them are good, that is not true. If most of them condone what the few do, they are just as bad. Defund the police. Black Lives Matter. Okay, I want to also show a very important thing. And by the way, for the girl who got tased, she lost her baby. And yes, the police officer that happened in January. Just I think this week or last week, the police officer was taken into custody or something of that nature. So, but here's the thing. Here's what is so important. Here's what is so important. And when I said I was going to tie those two together, remember this. Remember the football player goes to the Chipotle, and in Chipotle, when they told him to leave, or they're going to call the cops, he just went ahead and, even though the white guy who said he was harassing him was just pissed off that he was talking about Black Lives Matter, and he knew if he told the manager a story like that manager was going to confront these guys and say, get out of here. Doesn't matter. Football player making millions, all this, it doesn't matter. Right? So he knew what he was doing. The black guy, as opposed to the black girl in the other video, says, you know what? He said, and I'm writing up that blog as well. He said, I have a wife at home, a daughter, and he's only 24. A wife and daughter. You know what? I don't want to have any confrontation, any contact with the police officer. I won't wait for the police officer to tell the police officer, this white guy just lied on me. I am not going to do that. I am simply going to go. And he left. He and his entourage left. Better leaving than confronting the police. That is my behavior as well. If you've heard me say, I prevent any confrontation. I stay away from the justice system in the United States of America until we can work together to get this change. Now, but by the same token, I do not blame the young lady who's paid her bills. They wanted to give her a ticket for trespassing. A private owner of a restaurant had an argument with this girl. This girl leaves pissed off, throws the money. She didn't leave with an unpaid bill. Throws the money and then leaves. The owner tells the security guard, who is an off-duty police officer, I want to have a summons against her so that she can never come back into my restaurant. He's pissed. And because there is now an interface between person with privilege, calls police officer confronts POC, POC is on the ground being tased, loses baby, hurt, humiliated. That is the sequence of events. It's a sequence of events that was about to occur when that woman with the dog says, I am calling the police because you told me I needed to put a leash on my thing. I know my privilege. I will call the cop and tell the cop there's this black man harassing me. They know what the outcome is going to be. Either a beating by the cop on a black person that dare not resist, or possible death. And you know, I think in scrolling, I just saw something that my good friend Hope said. She said, yeah, you know, you don't fight and you just let them take you and you put the handcuffs on you. And you know what? That's still no guarantee. Still no guarantee. But I want to correct something, because a lot of people, whenever we start talking about these issues about the cops attacking black folk, etc., or POCs or minority, but look at black and black crime. Well, by the way, black and black crime is almost the same as white and white crime, okay? Now, by percentages, there are more murders by black folk. Why again? Because again, murder and these sort of things are socioeconomic, and since black folks are socioeconomically much under the majority population, white folks, you can see why that distressed population has all those conditions, just like you have in Appalachia. Just mimic Appalachia and the ghettos and the barrios. So you see, these are socioeconomic things. That's what they are. And that's what we have to get out. So take that out of the equation. Take out of the equation that, well, they're doing these things to themselves and why those gangs shoot up each other. That's true. And that's why somebody like Candace Owen can get some traction with some people, because a lot of what Candace Owen says, all those facts that she's shooting out, she's right. A lot of it, she had a couple of mistakes, but most of them are right. And it allows you to create the wrong narrative. But here's the deal. When there are many a times a black person or a person of color call the cops because their neighbor or they're doing something to them, and guess who ends up arrested, or guess who ends up in handcuff, or it's common. We have all of those videos as well, right? The difference I try to tell is the following. We want the state to be there to protect us. That's why we, the people, have created the state, and the state protects those people who get out of order, those people who get out of what we said our society is all about. The state protects us. But when the state becomes the hunter, when the state becomes the one you cannot go to, when the state becomes that, it's an issue. But we know there's a reason why. But that's for another show. There's a reason why. Now, this is the portion that I wanted to talk about police brutality, but how it runs into society. And I wanted to show those two videos because one shows that the power of the privilege, that restaurant owner. He was the one who started that confrontation because he is the one who asked the cop to confront her. And then that cop then overreacted by saying, that cop should have immediately said, no, if you want to have a restraining order on that woman, go to court. Get a restraining order to make sure she cannot come back to your place. That is what should have been done. The guy at the Chipotle, he knew better. He just says, I stay away from the system altogether. I leave. Okay? Now, I have another one that I need to show, and this one here is, we're changing subjects now. Again, I wanted to bring that to your view. Now we're going to change back into COVID-19. Why are we doing so badly? And I want you to check this out from Chuck Todd, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Take a look at how the United States is doing compared with other countries in controlling the coronavirus. At 107 cases per 1 million people, the United States has one of the highest infection rates in the world. Brazil's is higher, with a 7-day average of about 163 new infections per 1 million. Russia and India are also in double digits per 1 million people. At the other end of the data, Germany and Italy have made large strides in containing the virus. Both were above 60 new infections per million people at one point and are now in the single digits. And as we pass the 6-month mark of the virus in these countries, the date of first infection does not seem to be playing into infection rates either. The United States had its earliest recorded COVID-19 case back on January 21st, with all of the other countries except Brazil following just a week or so later. And it should be noted, the United States is not only the wealthiest nation, we also have the highest healthcare spending of any of these nations. President Trump argues the numbers are only rising because the United States is testing more. But the data suggests that other factors are driving this increase. For instance, the United States' positive test rate is 6 percentage points. That is higher than all of the other countries except India. Compared with Germany at 0.9% and Italy, where the percentage of positive cases is much lower than 1% actually. One thing of the struggling countries that all of them have in common is leaders like President Trump and Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, who have played down the threat of the virus.
The Woolies, and then they have to also mention England because we have Boris Johnson, who is also a right-wing crazy person like Trump and Bolsonaro. So we should note that. Now, in Houston is now the hot point. We are now very hot. The virus has exploded in Houston because we have a governor that the laws of that governor passes, or the orders that the governor passes, supersedes that of our local official. In Harris County, there's a woman. Her name is Lina Hidalgo, Judge Lina Hidalgo, and I've been trying to let it be known she has been doing the right thing. She's been trying to push the right rules. but she's had her hand tied. And even as she's had her hand tied, she's been out there giving the country, or rather giving the county directions. In other words, do this, do that. You don't have to, because I don't have the law behind me to say do it, but that is what we need to do if we're to get out of that in this county. And the people have not been following as they should, because we have a sect of right-wingers here and some neoliberals as well that's just upset that we have this young 29-year-old woman, Latina, who is running this entire county and doing a damn good job of it by showing that education matters, that competency matters, and that data matters. I want to play you the interview she did this morning on MSNBC.
I want to turn now to Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo. She oversees the largest county in Texas, which includes the city of Houston. Judge, thank you so much for joining us. I want to mention you are currently self-isolating, I understand, after a potential exposure to a member of your office who tested positive for COVID-19. Give us a quick update on how you are doing and how your own brush with the virus has helped folks see how intensifying this threat is.
That's right. Thank you, Eamon. So I'm at home self-quarantining because a member of my staff has come down with the virus, and I feel great. We're continuing to do all the work here from home. But the reality of it is there are thousands of people in my community and throughout the country, of course, going through what I'm going through, more and more cases. And here we see the evidence anecdotally, like me and so many folks we hear from that have come into contact with someone who's positive or are positive themselves, and also through the data, through this alarming rise in our hospitalization numbers. And what folks need to remember is, yes, some reopenings have paused, but restaurants are still at 50% capacity. Indoor events can still continue at whatever size. And what we need to be doing right now is everybody staying home. If we continue going at this rate, the hospitals will run out of space anywhere within the next week to 3 weeks. It takes longer than that to flatten a curve when everybody's staying home. So I don't know what game we're playing here, but it's time to buckle down.
So, Judge Hidalgo, I'm curious to get your thoughts on the governor's response to this. Harris County, as you mentioned, leads the state with nearly 10,000 more total cases than nearby Dallas County. You have now moved the threat level, I understand, to severe, which is the worst possible. Do you think the governor's move to close down bars and roll back reopening is enough to make a difference in your community?
I think the move is important. It's warranted. I'm grateful for it. I do not think it's enough. And I've said that to him. I've said it to my community. That's why I moved our status to red, to severe, which says stay home. And if I don't have the power anymore to require that folks stay home, I used to have that power until we were preempted by the state. I must at least communicate that very clearly to my community, because ultimately I am responsible for those 5 million or so lives. And what we're seeing is hospitalizations increased dramatically. And we know the one thing that works is staying home. Anything short of that is a gamble, is an experiment. There is no evidence that anything else will do the job. And frankly, it's not about trying to figure out exactly how close we can get to max hospital capacity. What are we going to do then? If we get there and then we reopen, then what? We have to look at this realistically. And the reality of it is we're in a very difficult situation, and human lives are not collateral damage. The idea is not, hey, we have hospital beds, so let's fill them so people can die comfortably. That is not what we should be thinking about here.
Let me get your thoughts really quickly about why the issue of wearing masks has been so difficult to, I guess, implement in that state. There isn't a mandate or a requirement to wear a mask. You have the vice president on one hand saying that's up to state and local officials, the governor of your state not mandating it as a requirement yet. That's got to certainly be confusing to people in Texas, but why do you think folks are not wearing masks in that state and elsewhere?
It's important for there to be an enforcement provision. With everything, we need the community on board. We are not a police state. We're not going to force people to do something, but there has to be that line there. That's why there's a penalty for not wearing a seatbelt, for parking in a handicap spot. It's just a signal it sends. So initially, I instituted a mask order. It included a fine, and the news all over town was, masks are going to be the new hot item of the summer, and let's go figure out, what's fashionable. And then we were preempted by the state that we could no longer include that fine. And of course, nobody wants to be the one wearing it when it's not enforceable. We've had the stay home order. We've had the bars and restaurants order. That's how we curbed the spread the first time around. I don't think we ever implemented those fines. As far as I know, we didn't. But just there being the threat of that fine, law enforcement does educate. That's their priority. But it's important that there be teeth because of the signal it sends. And so that's why I'm asking for an enforcement mechanism to my current stay-home advisory, so it can be a stay-home order again. But I do want to level with you, I don't think that just masks are going to do the trick. There is no evidence of that if everybody just wore a face covering, suddenly we would level the curve. It's worked in Asian countries, but they do other things as well that we would never do here because they would violate civil liberties.
All right, Judge Lina Hidalgo, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Now, that is what I call competence. She's definitely more competent than the president. She's definitely more competent than our governor. She has shown throughout her leadership in Houston, Texas, in Harris County, Texas. Again, she's above the city. She's actually Harris County. She has shown above and beyond that what again? That competence matters. And that when you tie the hands of competence, what you get is what we have right now. People need leadership. Nobody wants to wear masks. Nobody wants to stay home. But if you have competent leadership that tells you this is what we need to do, then you are going to respect that. And that is what you're going to do. You're going to complain. That's what we do. But you won't die, and you won't have a whole lot of people sick, and you won't, and as she said, people are not collateral damage. What I'm glad to see how she does it, and she's doing it more differently than I would do it, but she's not saying things like Trump and Greg Abbott has murdered many Texans, because that's what I believe. I honestly believe Donald Trump and Greg Abbott have murdered many Texans, many Americans. Because what they committed was manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter, because they knew that their actions would cause the deaths of people. But she wouldn't say that, but she came good enough by saying, you tied my hands and I couldn't apply the control necessary in my Harris County to do that. Anyhow, folks, we are getting to the end of the show, and I want to remind all of you to continue to share our programs. Continue to drop me lines, whether moving to 7 o'clock in a few weeks will be okay with you. That's what I'm considering. Let me know what you think. 7 o'clock p.m. Is what I'm looking at right now. Central Time, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. I also want to let you know that tomorrow we're going to be, I think tomorrow the show that I'm going to have is going to be Mr. Perkins. I think you're going to love it. It's going to inspire you, that particular program tomorrow. So check it out. But please remember, share. And also, we are now allowed, by the way, if you're on YouTube, you can always super chat us. Click on that $sign and say, yeah, I really like your show. I want to support you, whatever you want to do. Beforehand, I need to tell people hello. Dimitri OG, welcome aboard. I think I talked to Michael Rudnin already. Boris, Boris, welcome aboard. Who else is here that I haven't touched? Let's see. Mike Cisak, I don't think I touched you so far because I think you kind of got late. My Ras Mama, welcome aboard. My Ras Mama, that almost sounds like a Panamanian term. My Ras Mama, are you Panamanian? Because we use the Ras term. I don't know. Good thing that Americans don't really know what it actually means, because you and I would be both in trouble with YouTube. Let's see who else is here. I think I spoke to Hope already. Courtney Cook, how you doing, Courtney? Welcome aboard. Let's see who else. Para ver. Okay. Anyhow, so wow, I can't get to all these things more. No, I'm glad that you say 7 is okay, Dimitri. Anyhow, folks, please do remember we now can actually Love to see you, Courtney. Courtney grew up in our neighborhood. She is my sister, my daughter's good friend from they were little babies. It's just great seeing all these kids grow into beautiful women and men. You know, that is just. I'm sorry for going there. I just had to. Anyhow, folks, you can provide support to the show by on Facebook. Here's a link if you want to go to Facebook. Of course, we have that thing on Facebook where you can also press on the button. If you want to go to Patreon, patreon.com/politics done right. I'm putting that in the system as well. Patreon.com/politics done right. Also, we can go to support at paypal.me/politics done right is another way to provide us with support. And of course, if you like the t-shirt that I'm wearing, why don't you get one of these? I think I wore it today because, I like to wear my black shirt. That's all I wear, the black shirt. I said today I'll put this on because I need to wash a couple of them. 3 or 4 of them need washing, so I got to go wash them. Anyhow, folks, so if you want, go to store.politicsdoneright.com, store.politicsdoneright.com, and you can pick up the t-shirt. You can also pick up one of my books, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And you can get the book. I've had weight problems. If you want to do it my way is really your way. Lose weight and be fit now. Actually, if you get the book, you can actually see why my way is really your way. And also we have cups, the Politics Done Right cups. Did I see that? Yeah, there you go. Politics Done Right cups. And we have a lot of other little trinkets there. So, do that to support the show. Make sure that we can be here for the foreseeable future. That is how we are going to do it together. Folks, I know you can be anywhere. I know that. I know that, I am very grateful that you spend this time with me because, what can I say? Without you, there's no show. Without you, there's no change. That is the most important thing that I can say here. Without you, there ain't no change. You are going to be the ones that create change. Look what I just did with my green screen. My green screen is acting up and I'm playing with it to get it to the best form. Oh, look at me. I'm turning colors. I am turning different colors, Remember when they used to call black people colored? Anyway, that's what they tell me here in the United States. Anyhow, so this is the end of the show. I thank you so kindly. Oh, I didn't put my store on. I thank you so kindly for having been here. We'll be back tomorrow with an interview that I think you're going to love. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel. And please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.